The Tennessee Titans hired a new wide receiver coach, and it's becoming clear that the Titans are now a top destination for NFL coaching talent. I'll break down the big news on today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. Let's get it.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland. Titans fans, today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. The Tennessee Titans are getting the top candidates on the market. It's almost like they're using LinkedIn Jobs. We got a new wide receiver coach for the Titans. I'm going to tell you who that is and why this is another sign that the Tennessee Titans are now a top destination for coaching talent in the league. Also, we'll look at all of the coaches that the Tennessee Titans have fired who still remains and could remain on the staff with Brian Callahan. And finally, Mike Vrabel didn't get no job, so maybe the Tennessee Titans were right all along. But before we get into all of that, thank you for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first to listen each and every day, Monday through Friday. Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. You're not going to beat that anywhere else. Make sure you get subscribed. Stay subscribed to the number one Tennessee Titans podcast in the world. Do want to take a quick moment and just thank you guys all so much. January was the biggest month in Locked On Titans history. All right, it was the best views, downloads, financials, followers on social media. You guys absolutely knocked it out of the park. Can't thank you all enough. Of course, shout out to my everydayers out there tuning in Monday through Friday. Couldn't do it without you guys. If you aren't an everydayer, you need to be one. And of course, show's always free. All I ask for in return is the press of a button. Throw a thumbs up on that video as well. But we know about the Dennard Wilson hire. I went live last night, emergency episode to break down that news. The Tennessee Titans hired Dennard Wilson as their defensive coordinator. He was the most interviewed defensive coordinator candidate in the NFL this hiring cycle, and he chose the Tennessee Titans. It wasn't, the Titans were his last option. No, he could have gone to 3 or 4 different teams, and he chose to go to the Tennessee Titans. And then on Thursday, we get more news that the Tennessee Titans have hired Tyke Tolbert as their wide receiver coach. And Tolbert had 2 other options, 2 other teams that he could have gone to. But no, he decided to pick the Tennessee Titans. All right, and that's confirmed from Ian Rappaport and Cameron Wolfe from the NFL Network. So multiple sources, double-sourced, as they would say in the business. Tyke Tolbert is 56 years old. He is an experienced coach. He is a guy, and I'm throwing up his picture on the YouTube channel right now if you're watching along with me, but he is a guy who has incredible experience. He has been in the NFL since 2002, I do believe, and fun little wrinkle for you, it was Coach Dave McGinnis, who is a part of the Titans media group now and was with Jeff Fisher for a ton of years. Dave McGinnis in Arizona gave Tyke Tolbert his first coaching job in the NFL. So tons of connections there. But again, Tolbert, 56 years old, was a part of the Denver Broncos Super Bowl team in 2015. That's how he has a connection to Brian Callahan. They work together. And if you go back and listen to a podcast appearance that Brian Callahan did on The Season with Peter Schrager, he even credited Tyke Tolbert as molding him into the coach that he is today. So a connection there with Brian. I wouldn't call them buddies or friends, but they clearly had a connection during their time together in Denver. Also, the Florida coaching staff, when Ran Carthon was a running back for the Florida Gators, Tyke Tolbert was on that coaching staff. So multiple connections there. But looking at Tyke Tolbert's resume here, again, he's been in the NFL for nearly 2 decades now. He has worked with Anquan Boldin as a rookie, Eric Moulds, Lee Evans, Peerless Price, all during his time with the Buffalo Bills. Terrell Owens, who happens to be my favorite non-Titans wide receiver of all time. Love T.O., always been a big fan. Steve Smith, one of the best wide receivers of my lifetime. Demaryius Thomas, Wes Welker, Odell Beckham Jr. during his prime years with the New York Giants, and DJ Moore with the Chicago Bears last year. So this is a guy with a ton of experience, and Emory Hunt at Football Game Plan, one of the best scouts in the business, called Tyke Tolbert the best wide receiver coach in the NFL. So, again, a connection to the organization, tons of experience. And I talked about when Brian Callahan got hired that I wanted some older veteran coaches on his coaching staff because at the end of the day, Callahan's 39 years old, okay? He's a young coach who's never been a head coach before. You need to surround yourself with not only young, innovative talents like you have with Denard Wilson, but also with some veteran, experienced guys who you can lean on, who can guide you when there may be bridges that you haven't crossed before as a head coach. So I love this hire, not only because of the experience and the resume and the top-tier wide receivers that Tolbert has worked with in the past, but because he is an experienced coach that Brian Callahan can lean on. Again, they're not friends. They're not buddies. You know, they're nearly 20 years in age difference. But there is a connection and a relationship and a trust there from the previous coaching staffs that they've been on together. With not only Brian Callahan, but with Ran Carthon as well. But ultimately, my big takeaway here is, again, Denard Wilson had 3 different interviews other than the Titans and had the potential to stay with the Baltimore Ravens, and he chose the Tennessee Titans. Tyke Tolbert had 2 other opportunities in the NFL, and he chose the Tennessee Titans. This continues to be one of the best off seasons in Tennessee Titans history, and it just started. Again, it is a new era for this football team where the top talent in the NFL are choosing the Titans. The hottest defensive coordinator in the NFL, the hottest candidate on the market, chooses the Titans. The best, according to Emory Hunt, the best wide receiver coach in the NFL chooses the Tennessee Titans. Brian Callahan, who was the top offensive candidate, offensive-minded head coach candidate in the NFL this year, the Tennessee Titans got their man. And he wanted the Tennessee Titans as much as the Titans wanted him. When have the Titans been the desirable location? When have we seen, oh, no, I could go to all these other places. I want to go coach for the Titans. Again, it's a changing of the guard. It's a changing of the momentum. This franchise is in an entirely different place. And if my emotion during the Denard Wilson emergency episode wasn't enough, then don't take the emotion. Take my logic. I'll quiet down. For all the people saying, why are you always yelling? Here, I'll whisper it for you. This is one of the best off seasons in Tennessee Titans history, and it will continue to be. So if you aren't excited now, I don't know what else to tell you. The Tennessee Titans are a top destination for coaching talent. Now, a lot of you guys are going to ask about offensive coordinator. I would imagine we get that news sometime between now and the end of the weekend. My prediction is it's going to be Nick Holes from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I want it to be Eric Studesville from the Miami Dolphins. But as soon as that news breaks, of course, I'm going to jump on here and talk about it with you guys. But with that being said, that means that a lot of Tennessee Titans coaches under Mike Vrabel are now fired. We're going to go over who those people are, and there are a few coaches that aren't fired yet. And I think there's a specific reason, and they could make a lot of sense for the Tennessee Titans to keep around. So we're going to dive into that. Before we do, though, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. Number one, you got the 2024 Nissan Rogue. It's perfect for city drives and great escapes. Class exclusive Google built-in is your always updating assistant, and you can call on it for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, Google Play Store are all built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect mid-size crossover for your next adventure. The Nissan Pathfinder for 2024 has room for up to 8, expansive cargo capacity, and advanced available 4x4 capability with 284, I'm not cheating out Nissan right now, 284 horsepower and up to 6,000 pounds towing when adventure calls. The Pathfinder is there to answer. Take the Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, or the Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. ShopNissanUSA.com. Titans fans, let's continue today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. We're still breaking down the Tennessee Titans coaching staff. We got 2 big additions in the last 24 to 48 hours, depending on when you're listening to this, of course. Obviously, we got Denard Wilson as the defensive coordinator. We got Tyke Tolbert as the wide receiver coach. Just broke down that and what it means for the franchise. But now, I want to look at some of the Tennessee Titans coaches that have been fired, that have been let go so far. And there are a couple that haven't been let go that I think have a great chance to stick around. And when you look at the names, it makes a lot of sense why they would be good options. So before we get into that, of course, thank you guys for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen each and every day. As I just said, I'm suspecting we get more coaching staff news over the weekend. Might get that offensive coordinator hire. As soon as that happens, I'm going to be here to break it down with you guys. If it doesn't happen until the end of the weekend, of course, I'll be back with you all on Sunday night, Monday morning to break down all the latest news. But with that being said, the biggest firing, I'll say so far, has been Terrell Williams, the Tennessee Titans assistant head coach and defensive line coach. And a lot of you guys know Coach T at this point because Mike Vrabel let him be the head coach during a preseason game to help get him some, on-job training. Terrell Williams is currently the head coach of one of the sides of the Senior Bowl. He's been down there all week wearing Tennessee Titans hoodies and stuff. He got fired on Wednesday night and was still wearing a Titans hoodie to the Senior Bowl on Thursday, even though he's been hired now by the Detroit Lions to be their defensive line coach. But I just want to take a moment here and say this. I saw a lot of reactions online of people very, very, very upset about Terrell Williams going to the Lions. Guys, I get it. Terrell Williams was a good coach. He developed Jeffrey Simmons, got the best out of Harold Landry, got the best out of Teair Tart. The Titans had a constant rotation of interior defensive linemen over the last few years due to all the injuries. I mean, by the end of the year, they were playing Quentin Bohanna. You know what I mean? And Terrell Williams got the best out of all of those guys. He is a very good coach. Make no mistake about it. But the Chicken Little, sky is falling. Oh, no, we lost Terrell. What are you talking about? The Tennessee Titans just hired the hottest defensive coordinator candidate in the NFL. Terrell Williams was a Mike Vrabel loyalist. He was a guy who's been with Vrabel the whole time. He was a guy who Vrabel gave great opportunities to. It just doesn't make any sense that the brand new coach would come in and then keep the guy who was most loyal to the old coach. And also, yes, he's a good defensive line coach, but the Tennessee Titans are looking for better than that now. So I get saying, oh, he was a good coach. They lost him, but some of the boo-hooing and belly aching, again, it's all the people who were screaming bloody murder when Mike Vrabel got fired. And all of those people are still looking for things to criticize the organization for. That's all this is. I didn't want Mike Vrabel to be fired. I think it was stupid. Oh, I can't believe they're getting rid of Terrell Williams. He's such a good coach. He is a good coach, but come on, we're moving on to bigger and better things now. So people who are taking time out of their night to cry and complain about losing Terrell Williams, why the Titans hired Denard Wilson, what are we doing? What are you doing? You don't get mad that you lost your PB&J when you just got a Wagyu steak burger delivered to your table. But what about my PB&J? What? I mean, come on. Do you want the buffalo chicken sandwich or do you want the McChicken? You know, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But whatever, fan however you want. But it's just ridiculous. Either way, Terrell Williams let go. Tim Kelly, Titans offensive coordinator, let go. Of course, Tim Kelly's gone. We just hired an offensive coach who's going to call plays and install the entire game plan, who runs a totally different system than the Earnhardt Perkins system that Tim Kelly ran. So, of course, Tim Kelly's fired. Shane Bowen, the Titans defensive coordinator, obviously he's going to move on now. The Titans brought in Denard Wilson, got a better, more coveted candidate. Rob Moore, the wide receiver coach, gone, but Tyke Tolbert is a better wide receiver coach anyway. The Titans' development of wide receivers has been lacking. So people, oh no, Rob Moore. You can't complain about the wide receivers never developing and then be sad that the wide receiver coach is gone. Like, again, doesn't make any sense. Tony Dews, running back coach, then tight end coach. He went to the New York Jets. What are the Jets doing assembling the Titans coaching staff from the last 2 years? What? Just insane. Jason Hightower, Hoss, as they call him, went to be an assistant offensive line coach for the Bears. He got demoted back down after being ridiculously promoted by Mike Vrabel last year to offensive line coach. So sure, bye. Pat O'Hara got demoted by Mike Vrabel in his last year. He can go. Ryan Crow, outside linebacker coach. Bobby King, inside linebacker coach. Tom Quinn, special teams coordinator. Zach Kerr, the assistant linebacker coach. Charles London, the quarterback coach. Brian Callahan is a better quarterback coach than Charles London. So why am I worried about that? Like, Charles London, a good coach. But again, why are we worried about losing the McChicken when we have the Wagyu burger coming? I don't care about the McDouble anymore. I got the Wagyu steak burger. You know what I mean? So a lot of that belly aching and boo-hooing that you're seeing over some of these coaches that the Titans are clearing out, it's just absurd to me, and it's just more leftover temper tantrums from Mike Vrabel. That's all that it is. There is a thorough line, a connecting line between the people who are throwing a fit about some of these losses and people who were throwing a fit when Mike Vrabel got fired. So it's the same people doing the same boo-hooing and belly aching all the time. Now, there are a couple of coaches for the Titans that have not been let go yet. Number one, Justin Otten. He was the run game coordinator and running back coach for the Denver Broncos, who Mike Vrabel just hired before 2022. He hasn't been let go yet, and I don't know that he should be. If he can be the run game coordinator for the Titans, maybe even their running back coach again, I think that would make a ton of sense. Chris Harris, who was doing defensive coordinator interviews last year, have him stick around as the defensive back coach. I would love that. And then Anthony Levine, who is an assistant special teams coach, former NFL player and special teams dynamo for the Baltimore Ravens. The Titans brought him over from the Baltimore Ravens. As Craig Aukerman got fired, Tom Quinn got promoted, Anthony Levine got promoted. Anthony Levine is a young and inspiring, aspiring special teams coach. It would make sense to keep him around. Now, the one thing that all three of those names have in common, Justin Otten, Chris Harris, and Anthony Levine, they are not Mike Vrabel guys. They aren't people who have been with Mike Vrabel since he got hired here. When Mike Vrabel was trying to fix his coaching staff last year and add new names, those are guys who got added. So people could say, oh, you don't want any carryover. You want a total clean house. These are not Mike Vrabel people, all right? These are not Mike Vrabel loyalists. So if the Titans kept Justin Otten around as a running back coach and a run game coordinator, that would make a ton of sense. Chris Harris is a DB coach and a passing game coordinator. That would make a ton of sense. Anthony Levine as a special teams coach. That would make a ton of sense. And these aren't Mike Vrabel guys like all the rest of the names that I listed off to you other than Charles London. So, and of course, again, Charles London, why would they keep around the quarterback coach when you just hired a quarterback guru as your head coach? So for me, it's pretty clear that some of the names here that haven't been fired quite yet make a ton of sense. Make a ton of sense for the Titans to keep around. Let me know down below if you would keep any of Justin Otten, Chris Harris, Anthony Levine in their roles. We got to talk about this Mike Vrabel thing because Mike Vrabel didn't get a job. Wait, I thought he was going to get hired instantly and was a top candidate on the market, and nonsense. Nonsense. Tennessee Titans are getting some revenge, getting some get back, and we're going to dive into that in just a moment. Before we do, though, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. Look, at the start of the new year, every small business owner is asking themselves the same question. What's the one move I can make that will take my business to the next level in 2024? LinkedIn Jobs knows that your success all depends on the team you surround yourself with. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps create tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. Hiring is so easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Also want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by DoorDash. DoorDash always delivers. I mean that figuratively and literally as well. Whether it be a meal, whether it be groceries, whether it be retail, it doesn't matter. You can get it on DoorDash. It's going to be delivered to you quickly. It's going to be delivered to you with a ton of ease. I love DoorDash. I'm not even going to lie. A lot of the time, I'm forgetting certain things that I want to use when I'm cooking dinner, but just hop on the DoorDash app, get everything loaded up. It's to my door in no time. And let I remind you that the big game is almost here. So whether it be pregame, halftime, 2-minute warning, you're going to want to go to DoorDash and make sure that they can come in the clutch while you are watching the clutch moments of the big game. But with that being said, do want to let you guys know that you can get 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code LOCKED23. That's LOCKED23. It's subject to change. Terms apply. Again, don't forget to use that code LOCKED23 for 50% off up to a $10 value on your first order when you download the DoorDash app and spend $15 or more. Subject to change. Terms apply. Titans fans, let's cap off today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland, 25 years as a Tennessee Titans fanatic. I've written about this team and covered this team for USA Today, for Sports Illustrated, going off on my own with a little film channel venture here very, very soon. I'll be breaking that news down on the podcast very soon. But certified film junkie, breaking down the X's and O's, all the biggest talking points, all the biggest news and reports. Can't thank you all for all of the support. Can't thank you enough. Just appreciate you guys all so much for sticking with me here again. Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. It's your team every day here on the Locked On Titans podcast. We talked about the new hires for the Tennessee Titans and why the Titans are a top destination for coaches now. We talked about some of the old coaches that have been fired, some of the guys who are still lingering around that could stick on the coaching staff. But now, I just got to get into a little Rollins rant for you guys to finish off the week, okay? End of week rant. Mike Vrabel ain't got no job. Crazy, right? Crazy, crazy, crazy. And I know I've talked about this before, but it sticks in my craw, man. It really does. Not because I want to hate on Mike Vrabel so much, but the reaction to the Tennessee Titans firing him was absurd. We were told that Mike Vrabel was the top candidate on the market. We were told that the Titans are so stupid for firing Mike Vrabel because he's going to be hired right away. Well, every open head coaching position is now filled in the NFL, and guess who didn't get a job? Mike Vrabel. But wait, he's a top kid. And not only that, Ben Johnson, Bill Belichick, Bobby Slowick, 3 people who were considered top candidates or logical candidates at minimum with Bobby Slowik. He was a logical candidate who got interviews. All three of those guys did not get jobs. And even with that, even with Bill Belichick, Ben Johnson, and Bobby Slowik not getting jobs, Mike Vrabel still couldn't get one of the 7. Still couldn't get one. Interviewed with multiple teams, couldn't get one. Now, eventually, you know, like I know, his agent is going to slip some information to Diana Rossini or Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter and say, Mike Vrabel decided he wanted to take the year off and go back into the coaching circuit in 2025. Well, Bill Belichick's going to be there. Ben Johnson, Bobby Slowik with a stronger candidacy, some of the same candidates that were going to be available anyways, like Aaron Glenn. Is Mike Vrabel going to get a job next year? See, the thing is here, word travels. And when you act a certain way at your job, odds are other employers are going to hear about that. So in back-to-back seasons, Mike Vrabel makes a power play on the organization. I want John Robinson fired. Okay, all right. You're a good coach. We'll do that. I don't want Rand Carthon. You need to hire someone over him. You need to let me have full roster control. Basically, what do we need Rand Carthon for? I mean, he literally tried to power play the franchise 2 years in a row for full roster control. The only coach ever that has had full roster control and made it work is Bill Belichick. And he also had Tom Brady the whole time. And as soon as Tom Brady was gone, and even right before Tom Brady was gone, the roster started to fall apart. And they had to take the GM duties away from him. But more often than not, you look around at the other examples in the NFL of when a coach had full roster control, it never works. Because the coach needs to worry about the now, and the GM needs to worry about the future, and it is not possible to do both of those well at the same time. You try to walk two paths, you only go down the wrong one. All right? So I just think it's hilarious that the Tennessee Titans were roasted, condemned, humiliated on Undisputed, on ESPN, and Keyshawn Johnson, and Skip Bayless, and Warren Sharp, and Albert Breer called Amy Adams impulsive and overreactionary. All these people had so much negativity for the Tennessee Titans when they hired Mike Vrabel. Why? Because they didn't trade him, and because they fired him in general. Because he's such a top candidate, such a great coach. He's going to get hired right away. Well, I guess not. I guess not. So I guess, looking back at it, the Titans weren't stupid for not trading him, because if none of these teams even wanted him anyway, how could you do a trade? Who are they going to trade him to? The Guangdong Sharks in China? You know, have fun learning Chinese, buddy. Little internet meme for you guys there who are in the know. If you don't understand it, just don't worry about it. But it's just so obvious. Nobody wanted Mike Vrabel. So who were the Titans going to trade with? Nobody. And nobody wanted Mike Vrabel. So why is he considered some elite Vince Lombardi, Bill Belichick head coach? He's not. He's not that. So Mike Vrabel is clearly not valued as highly in the NFL as he is in the media. And the Titans clearly are a little bit smarter than maybe people in the media thought they were. And it's not just the national folks. Local people. Sky is falling. Chicken Little. Setting the franchise back. Mike Vrabel forever. Buy his jersey and go to a new team. I mean, what are we doing here? Again, I've said it all week. I said it last week. Amy Adams Strunk is going to drag you into the new era of Tennessee Titans football, kicking and screaming. So it was just annoying to me how everybody crapped on the Titans for this move. And then immediately, after all the coaching positions are filled, nobody has anything. Nobody wants to apologize. Nobody wants to, oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I didn't understand Mike Vrabel's value. But nobody's going to recant? Oh, okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I see how it is. Nobody really cares about the Titans, so if we blast them and we talk bad about them, nobody's going to remember to check us on it when we're proven wrong afterwards. Okay. All right, cool. I see how the game is run. And that, my friends and my listeners, is why I dominate. Because there's a bunch of people out here talking about the Titans who don't have a clue about the team. And that's why this is your first listen each and every day. But With that being said, that is going to do it for today's episode. Again, if there's more coordinator news, as you guys know, I mean, if I'm in bed, I'm going to hop up and go live to break down the news. If something happens on Saturday, Sunday, I'll wait until the Sunday night show to dive into it. But that is going to do it for today's show. I'll be back with you guys next week, of course, for all your Titans news. As always, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was Locked On Titans.